The first time Officer Raymond Hale heard a man scream inside the SHU, it wasn't from pain, it was from silence. In Pelican Bay, silence could break bones faster than fists ever could. If stories like this fascinate you, hit subscribe, because this one only gets darker. Pelican Bay State Prison sits on the far northern edge of California, surrounded by fog and pine. To most, it's just another correctional facility. To those who've been inside, it's a different planet, where time bends, light dies, and the human mind becomes its own enemy. Hale had been a guard there for 8 years, long enough to stop jumping when steel doors slammed shut. He used to think the place was built to hold evil men. Now he wasn't sure who it was breaking down faster, the inmates or the ones paid to watch them. He walked the corridors of the security housing unit, the SHU, every morning at 6 a.m. Each cell door had a small window, no bigger than a postcard. Behind it, he could see faces that had forgotten what sunlight felt like. There was one inmate Hale never forgot, Marcus Red Leary. Convicted of 2 murders, alleged gang shot caller, but quieter than most. Red had a way of staring through you, like he already knew the outcome of your life. Hale said the man barely spoke for months. Then one morning, Red started humming, soft, low, like I am under his breath. The melody echoed through the concrete like it didn't belong there. Other inmates fell silent. Even the air changed. Hale wrote it up in his log as inmate vocalizing because there was no box for what it actually was, a warning. 2 days later, the wing went dark. Someone had jammed a wire into the circuit panel. Cameras cut out. The night shift heard a single thud, then nothing. By the time lights returned, one inmate was missing from his cell. Gone. Not transferred. Not accounted for. The lieutenant called it a clerical mistake. Paperwork lag, he said. But Hale saw the blood on the floor by cell 213, the one that used to hold Red Leary. He tried to report it. No one listened. The warden told him to rewrite his statement, remove the details. You're seeing things, he was told. Pelican Bay plays tricks on the mind. But Hale knew what he saw. And that night, as he drove home past the coastal fog, he swore he could still hear that same haunting hum, carried by the wind, cold as the moon hanging above the prison walls. He didn't sleep that night. Because for the first time in 8 years, Officer Hale wasn't sure if Pelican Bay was keeping the monsters in, or if it was creating them. And the next morning, when he walked into the control room, a note waited on his desk. No signature. Just 4 words written in red ink. You heard him too. When the doors of Pelican Bay clanged shut the next morning, the echo lingered like a warning. Officer Raymond Hale felt it in his bones. The note was gone when he checked his desk again, vanished. Maybe someone took it. Maybe it was never meant to stay. He didn't report it. Not because he was scared of losing his job, but because he was scared of what might follow if he did. Inside Pelican Bay, silence wasn't cowardice, it was survival. That week, the prison went into a strange rhythm. Routine searches turned chaotic. The SHU wing flooded with tension so thick it felt like the air was humming. Inmates refused meals. Guards whispered about the ghost cell, a space that appeared on old blueprints but not in the digital system. Hale had never seen it, but the rumors spread like static. One night, Hale was assigned to Tier C, the oldest part of the SHU. Half the bulbs flickered, throwing shadows that moved like they had a life of their own. He checked Red Leary's old cell. It was sealed now, empty, cold. On the wall, faint but visible under his flashlight, someone had etched a line of words, "We are still here." He froze. The handwriting looked shaky, almost carved with desperation. He thought of Red's hum, that low, rhythmic tune that seemed to pulse through concrete. What if it wasn't just a song? What if it was a signal? The next day, he asked a veteran guard, Morales, about the missing inmate report. Morales shook his head slowly. "You don't ask about Red," he muttered. "You don't ask about 213. The higher-ups clean what they need to. That's how we keep the peace." Hale pressed. "You mean cover it up?" Morales sighed. You ever wonder why no one lasts more than a decade here? It's not the inmates that break us, it's the truth. That night, Hale couldn't shake the unease. He went through old logs in the control booth. Several inmates had vanished over the years, always from the same tier, always after routine transfers. No records of where they went. Just notes marked administrative hold. He printed one of the old reports and took it home. It listed Red Leary's inmate number, crossed out in thick black marker. Below it, a handwritten note, "Do not reopen. Psychological containment program." The phrase chilled him. He'd never heard of such a program in any official manual. He searched every record database, but it was as if it didn't exist. The deeper he looked, the faster his access was revoked. Days later, Morales didn't show up for his shift. When Hale asked around, no one seemed surprised. Family emergency, they said. But Hale saw the way the others avoided his eyes. That evening, a package arrived at his home, no return address. Inside was a single cassette tape and a folded photo of the SHU wing from decades ago. Hale found a player in his garage, pressed play, and listened. Static at first. Then a voice, faint and raspy, filtered through the hiss. "Pelican Bay isn't what it seems," the voice said. "They built more than cells here. They built experiments." Hale froze. The voice sounded eerily familiar. Calm, deliberate. It was Red Leary. The tape ended with the same humming Hale had heard in the corridors, soft, cold, and rhythmic. But this time, there was something new underneath it, the sound of another man breathing. And then, just before the tape clicked off, a whisper, "You're next, Officer Hale." The next morning, the fog over Crescent City looked thicker than usual, dense, unmoving, like a curtain pulled over the world. Raymond Hale sat in his car outside Pelican Bay, the cassette still in his glove box, his knuckles pale against the steering wheel. He hadn't slept. The voice of Red Leary played in his mind on repeat, each word colder than the one before. He thought about driving away, just leaving everything behind. But you don't leave Pelican Bay. Not really. It follows you home. Inside the prison, something had changed. The guards moved quieter. Radios buzzed with half-spoken codes. The warden's office was locked, and rumors spread that internal affairs had arrived from Sacramento. Hale tried to act normal, but his chest felt heavy, like the air itself was watching him. Around noon, a new order came down. All officers on Tier C were to report for security review. When Hale reached the control room, the monitors were off. No lights. Just the faint hum of the generators below. A man he didn't recognize, a state official, maybe, stood by the window. "Officer Hale," he said, "we've reviewed your recent activity. You've accessed restricted files. That's a violation." Hale swallowed. "Then tell me what's going on here. Tell me what happened to Red Leary." The man's expression didn't change. "Sometimes," he said quietly, "the truth endangers order. And order is the only thing standing between this place and chaos." Behind the official, the fog pressed against the glass like something alive. Hale turned his gaze toward the monitor controls, fingers trembling. "You think silence keeps this place together?" he asked. "It's killing us." The man sighed. "Officer Hale, this facility runs on silence. Always has." When Hale left that room, he knew he'd crossed a line he couldn't uncross. That night, as the rain started to fall, he unlocked the control booth on Tier C and slipped in alone. He played the cassette again, letting the hum echo through the speakers. And something strange happened. The inmates went silent. One by one, voices faded, footsteps stopped, even the dripping of water from the pipes seemed to freeze in midair. Then from the darkness of cell 213, empty since the night red disappeared, came a faint sound. A second hum. The same rhythm. He turned his flashlight toward the cell, heart pounding. The light caught the wall, and he saw it, fresh letters scratched into the concrete. "We remember you." The beam flickered, and for a second, Hale swore he saw a figure inside, motionless, facing the back wall, humming softly. He blinked, and it was gone. By morning, Hale was no longer on the roster. The warden told the staff he'd taken personal leave. Some said he transferred. Others whispered he'd lost his mind. No one ever saw him again. Months later, a new officer joined the Pelican Bay staff. On his first day, he found a sealed envelope in his locker. Inside was a cassette labeled 213. He pressed play out of curiosity. Static. Then breathing. Then a familiar, low hum. And finally, the same cold voice, "Welcome to Pelican Bay." If you think this story was intense, the next one will leave you speechless. Subscribe for more true crime stories that'll keep you on the edge of your seat.